Hi guys, I know. Hi guys, I know it's a lot of going on right now but I'm on this girl named Christina Randall. She published this video on September 2nd, which is today. And she did make a point. I want you to hear this point because I couldn't it kept reeling in my head. Why would she be afraid of this guy? Why would she and him being playing like monk in the middle with this car while this and asking all these dumb questions to this roadside service guy and everything. She does make a point here. I don't know if it's true or not.
Not fact. I don't know these people. Please do not show hate to anybody. Please just go and do your own research, form your own opinion. But after talking with one of my really good friends tonight, who is super into true crime, just like all of us are, she came up with a really good theory that dang near had me screaming. Okay, so I'm going to share it with y'all. So here we are.
And it even had me like, oh my God, it could possibly.
A driver got called, or this tow truck driver got called, and he went to Boca and pulled up on Kieley's car and saw Kieley and this other guy. What if that wasn't Kieley? What if it was one of her friends that looked like her?
And she shows a picture of Jaggard wearing this same hat that this car service, whatever this roadside service guy described him wearing that day. He's wearing the San Francisco baseball hat with the hair sticking out on the sides. Okay?
Because she does have a friend or two that looks a lot like her. And what if the reason why the girl and the guy that was there talking to this tow truck driver was so nervous and they were switching sides on the vehicle because they did not want this tow truck driver to go to the back of the vehicle because Kieley's body could have been back there, right? And the reason why the car was in neutral, because if you guys just remember and you can go and play it back, he said that they were saying they couldn't get the car started, but they found out there was nothing wrong with the car. They just had the car in neutral. They were at that Boca River, or that Boca Lake, getting ready to push the car into that lake because they were all partying at the other one. But they got the car in neutral and they couldn't get the car started. So this guy comes and gets the car started. And at this point, now these two kids, or these two young people, they have to take this vehicle to another lake now. Because if they put this vehicle in this lake, now they've got somebody that has seen them. And that's when they end up taking the vehicle back to the other lake. And it makes me wonder who all sent those text messages. Did that text message that Kieley sent her mom ever even come from Kieley? Did it maybe come from somebody else? Maybe they took her car, maybe they took her phone, turned it off, and threw it in that lake. Then they figured they would drive her car over to the other lake at Boca, put the car in neutral, push it in, and then for some reason they couldn't get it in. Maybe they were messed up. Maybe something happened. I don't know. And I know that it's very far-fetched. And I know that it's a lot to put on a bunch of unknown people. But you guys, when you watch some of these interviews with these friends, and oh my gosh, please y'all don't show hate to anybody because I don't know. This could all be wrong. This could be a really freak tragic accident. It could. But man, some of these situations are weird. When you hear these people, the ones that would speak out, talk, and the things that they said, listen to how they talk.
It's like, okay, be safe. Don't do anything stupid. I definitely feel like that in this current situation that she's safe. I don't know where she is. We don't have anything to go off of at this point, but I fully believe that she's alive and well, and I fully believe that the two of us, three of us, or other people are going to bring her home safe. She's safe. So that's why we came here today, because I wanted to look around myself.
From what the tow truck driver was describing, he was wearing that same baseball hat in this footage that you just heard. And from what she said, could possibly be another female looking like Kieley with blonde hair. Who was standing next to Jagger in that interview with that TV reporter? But a blonde girl. Who was the blonde girl? I want to know in that footage. I want to know who the blonde girl is, because the tow truck road service guy saw a blonde girl. That was a blonde girl. He was wearing the same baseball hat. There's something going on
That's
there.
why we came here today, because I wanted to look around for myself, because I haven't been here yet.
To make things even weirder, Jagger made this post over on his TikTok that said, "Any info will help at this point. She was last seen at Prosser Lake around 1:30, most likely drunk driving. If anyone has anything, please come forward. You are not facing any charges." And then a comment said, "Call Placer County Sheriff's, not the number." And then Jagger responds, "Me or the sheriff. We are all working in the same thing, and the sheriff would like me to filter through any information I can before it gets."
Why does he want the information so badly? Because he wants to keep up and make sure that they ain't on his heels.
To them. So somebody
He can
went
only
and
filter
commented
what he
on the
wants the
sheriff's
cops to know.
page and said this: "The kids are involved. Can you verify Jagger's comments that the sheriff wants him to filter information before it goes to the police? These kids are hiding something, and that should be addressed. No one finds it suspicious that this girl, Sammy, who wasn't even close with her, and they aren't even friends on social media, who has dated her boyfriend, is so overly involved with no emotion and her trying to control the situation. These kids know more than they're saying." And then
Mm-hmm. I mean, just a lot to make you think about the kids that surrounded her that night.
kids know more than they're saying. And then the sheriff's office responds back, "That is false. The only tip line is," and then it gives the information. So why would an ex-boyfriend that alleged
saying to filter the tips through him and the sheriff, unless he wants to make sure that whatever tips that been told to him, and he finds out that someone knows about him or knows about what exactly happened that night, he knows ahead to take off, to run away, to try and swerve the narrative, because I bet you other people knew and they were filtering it to him, but half of the tips that they were filtering to him didn't get to the fucking sheriffs, because of the fact that he can pick and choose what tips to tell the sheriffs. And I wonder what tips he did not tell the sheriff.
allegedly wasn't even there, barely even text her, want comments or tips filtered through him? It's just really bizarre. But let's
Mhm.
keep moving here.
Sammy Smith says she was the last person to speak with her at the party early Saturday morning.
She was having a fun time at a party, just being a teenager. Everything she drank, I drank out of. And there was nothing that seemed off about her. Everything she drank, I drank out of. Everything she drank, I drank out of.
So another thing that people online are talking about and saying is very strange is this young lady, Sammy, put together on August 8th a Tahoe Teen to Teen. Now, remember what we just read from the ex-boyfriend Jagger. Filter stuff through me to the sheriff. You can just call me if you have any tips.
Where are
Well,
they
now
having
Sammy,
people
Tahoe
filtering
Teen to
through
Teen.
him and Sammy?
We are having a Tahoe Teen to Teen meetup August 9th from 5 to 7:30 in Tahoe City at the Save Mart in Tahoe City. We really
And it isn't the first time kids under the age of 20 murdered someone that they were supposedly friends with. I mean, I think of two cases here, or at least one case. and it was dealing with the Slender Man. They're supposed to be friends with this one girl, which was one of the cases, and they took her out into the woods and stabbed her to death. Then there was another one. I forget. I gotta look this up. Look it up. Echo. Turn off. Thank you. Find me cases where two friends. Find me a murder case.
According to Wikipedia,
Oh my
Find Me
God.
is a 2019 novel by writer Andre Asselman.
No. Find me the murder case where two friends murdered their friend in the woods. Skylar Neese, yeah. The 16-year-old brutally murdered by her two friends. Skylar Neese was a 16-year-old honor student. Sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it, with this girl? With a bright future, she loved to read, had an active social life, and like most teens, and was all about posting her thoughts on social media. And as we've seen in my other video that I just posted, her personal profile is on private, but the caption does not sound like what a teen girl would say, okay? And there's no post, so which means someone deleted all those posts that a young 16-year-old would freaking post. She also never missed a day of work at her part-time job at Wendy's. But on July 6, 2012, Skylar Neese snuck out of her bedroom window in Star City, West Virginia, to meet up with her two best friends, Sheila Eddy and Rachel Schoaf. A close-knit trio. Tell me how this sounds just like what's going on with Kieley. Skylar Neese, Sheila, and Rachel attended University High School together, just north of Morgantown, West Virginia. Neese had known Eddy since she was 8 years old, and Eddy had met Schoaf their freshman year. The trio was inseparable, and Neese was said to have served as an emotional rock for the other two girls, as both Eddy and Schoaf had parents who had divorced. Neese, however, was the only child, and her parents wanted everything for her. They nurtured her intelligence and encouraged her to be her own person. Skylar thought she could save her. Neese's mother, Mary Neese, said of her daughter's relationship with Sheila, "I would hear her on the phone giving Sheila all kinds of hell. Don't be stupid. What were you thinking?" On the other hand, Sheila was so much fun. She was always silly and doing crazy stuff. Eddy, the fun-loving girl in the trio, was accepted by Mary Neese and her husband David. Sheila didn't even knock on the door when she came over. She just came right on in. Eddy, let's see. Rachel, on the other hand, was the opposite of Eddy. Thought she was well-liked and enjoyed being in school plays. She came from a strict Catholic family, idolized Eddy for her somewhat wild and carefree attitude. While Schoaf and Neese enjoyed some of the freedom that Eddy enjoyed, they didn't have the same freedom to the same extent. and the particular dynamic would eventually spell doom for Skylar Neese. The murder of Skylar Neese. Thanks to the trio's many social media posts, it ultimately became clear that Neese, Eddie, and Shoaf had underlying tensions with each other. Skylar Neese tweeted things like this on May 31st, 2012, post, "You're a two-faced bitch and obviously fucking stupid if you thought I wouldn't find out." Another tweet from the spring said, "Too bad my friends are having lives without me." It appears to Neese as though Sheila and Rachel were becoming closer friends without her. Sheila and Skylar were fighting a lot. Daniel Hofstadter, a classmate at USH, reported, "One time, sophomore year, me and Rachel were at practice for Pride and Prejudice, and Rachel had her phone up to her ear and she was laughing. She was like, 'Listen to this.' Sheila and Skylar were fighting, but Skylar didn't know Sheila had put her on three-way calling and Rachel was listening in. The scenario was like something straight out of Mean Girls, but things were about to get a lot more grisly. Grainy security video footage from Neese's family apartment in the early morning of July 6 shows Skylar getting into a nondescript sedan. The following morning, Neese did not report for work, a first for the responsible teen. The Neeses knew their daughter didn't run away because her cell phone charger, toothbrush, and toiletries were still in her room. They reported their daughter missing. Later that day, Sheila Eddie called the Neeses. She proceeded to tell me that her, Skylar, and Rachel had snuck out that night before, and they had driven around Star City, were getting high, and the two girls had dropped her back off at the house. Mary Neese recalled the story was that they had dropped her off at the end of the road because she didn't want to wake us up sneaking back in. The story held for a little while until the best friends seemed to implicate themselves. A harrowing investigation into the case. Sheila claimed that she and Rachel picked up Skylar at 11 p.m., dropped her back off before midnight, but the surveillance video said otherwise. The grainy footage showed Neese leaving her apartment at 12:30 a.m., the car pulling away at 12:35, and then never seen again. Eddie and her mother helped to canvass the neighborhood for Neese on July 7th. Meanwhile, Shoaf was off to Catholic summer camp for 2 weeks. Eddie was filtering information. Why would she be searching be involved in? I mean, come on. Rumors swirled that Neese went to a house party, just like there's rumors saying that she went to a different party, overdosed on heroin. Corporal Ronnie Gaskin, one of the investigators in the case, said that people told him that the teenager attended a party and died. People there panicked and they disposed of the body. But Star City police officer Jessica Colbank's instincts otherwise. Their stories were verbatim the same. No one story is exactly the same unless it's rehearsed. Everything in my gut was Sheila is acting wrong. Rachel is scared to death. But with no legitimate cause to make an arrest, the police had to keep investigating, and the Neeses had to endure an agonizing wait before the truth about their daughter would come out. Fortunately, social media offers some clues as to all three girls were very active on Twitter and Facebook. The afternoon before Skylar Niece disappeared, she tweeted, "Sick of being at fucking home. Thanks, friends. Love hanging out with all you too." The day before, Niece posted, You doing shit like that is why I can never completely trust you." It seemed the rift in the trio provided some solid evidence that perhaps Sheila and Rachel had something to do with Niece's disappearance. Chris Berry, a state trooper assigned to the case in August 2012, always believed that any murderer could not conceal what they had done for very long. In some cases, Berry had seen the murderers would even brag about their deeds. He had a feeling that this was one of those cases and thus believed that Rachel and Sheila would come to confess in time. Berry created a fake online persona as an attractive teenage boy who attended West Virginia University in Morgantown and scoured Facebook and Twitter, linking up with the girls. Then investigators could use this access to glean insight on the mental state of Eddie and Shof from their posts on social media. Investigators observed that Eddie was perky, while Shof was reserved and quiet online. Neither one of the girls hinted that they were upset about their best friend's disappearance. Sounds kind of familiar between what's going on with but around her friends. They seemed neither of them hinted that they were all that concerned. Eddie tweeted about mundane things, even posted a photo of her and Shof together. Some posts were odd, such as one of them on November 5th, 2012, that said, "No one on this earth can handle me. Rachel, if you think you can, you're wrong." Meanwhile, Sheila and Rachel began hearing things on social media that made them nervous. Some people on Twitter outright accused them of having committed the murder and told them that it was only a matter of time before they would be caught. Authorities continually brought Eddie and Shof in for interviews. Over time, the two became more secluded from their other friends and relied on each other. The Colbanks realized that the car in the security footage belonged to Sheila. Authorities cross-referenced surveillance footage from nearby businesses of that July night. They found that the same car that picked up Skylar near a convenience store in Blackstone, West Virginia, west of Star City and Morgantown. However, both Eddie and Shof had said that they went east on the night of Niece's disappearance. The girls were caught in a lie. But while the evidence continued to point to Skylar Niece's best friends as her killers, the cops still didn't have enough to charge them. It would take a confession to finally close the case. Rachel's sickening confession. The stress and the strain of concealing their crime continued to take its toll on Rachel and Sheila. On December 28, 2012, a frantic parent called 911 in Magnolia County. "I have an issue with a 16-year-old daughter of mine. I can't control her anymore. She's hitting us. She's screaming. She's running through the neighborhood." The caller was Patricia Shof, Rachel's mother. In the background, Rachel Shof could be heard crying controllably, "Give me the phone. No, this is over. This is over." And then to the dispatcher, Patricia Shof said, "My husband's trying to contain her. Please hurry." Rachel was primed to confess, and authorities picked her up soon. She told them that the horrifying truth about Skylar Niece's murder. "We stabbed her," Shof blurted out. As we continued talking, the grim truth about the case of Skylar Neese only became more and more clear. As Schultz told it, she and Eddie had planned the murder of Skylar a month in advance. One day they were in science class and they agreed that maybe they should kill her. They planned on carrying out the murder just before Schultz left for the summer camp. On the night of the murder, Schultz grabbed a shovel from her dad's house and took Eddie took 2 knives from her mom's kitchen. They also took with them cleaning supplies and a change of clothes. When the 2 girls picked her up, Skylar Neese assumed that they were just going to be driving around and having fun. Previously, the trio had driven to Brave, a town just over the state line, Pennsylvania, to get high. Schultz and Eddie had indeed brought their own pipes for smoking weed and knives. Although it was scorching hot outside, Schultz and Eddie wore hoodies to conceal the fact that they were hiding the knives. And aware of why they were actually wearing hoodies, Skylar Neese thought nothing of it. Once near the woods in Pennsylvania, where Neese thought they had gone to smoke, the 2 other girls got behind their victim. On 3, Schultz said. Then they pounced and started attacking her. Schultz said that at one point during the attack, Neese got away, but they stabbed her in the knee so she could not run very far again. Neese's fate was sealed. In her dying breath after being stabbed dozens of times, Skylar said, "Why?" Authorities later asked Rachel Schultz the same question, to which she simply said, "We didn't like her." Justice for the murder. In early January 2013, Rachel took investigators to the Royal Woods where she and Sheila had killed Skylar, and it was covered in snow, and she didn't remember the exact location. They could not initially find the body, but due to Schultz's confession, the authorities soon charged her with murder. Then the authorities' final break came a week later when they found the 16-year-old's body, nearly undeniable, identifiable. I'm sorry, I can't speak. Damn, in the woods. It would not be until March 13th that a crime lab would officially confirm that the body was that of Skylar Neese. Investigators matched blood samples in Sheila's Eddie's trunk to Neese's DNA, and she was arrested on May 1st, 2013, in the parking lot of a Cracker Barrel. She was charged with a first-degree murder, and she pled guilty in January 2014. She received a light sentence with the possibility of parole after 15 years. Rachel Schultz, guilty of second-degree murder, received 30 years sentence. David Neese, Skylar Neese's dad, said that those 2 girls in society locked up like animals because that's what they are. They're animals. The mourning father occasionally visits a tree in the woods in Pennsylvania, decorated with photos of his only child, his beloved daughter, killed because of 2 jealous best friends. I wanted to take the horrible thing that happened here and try to turn it into something good, a place that people can come and remember Skylar and remember the good little girl that she was, and not the little beast that they treated her like. The Neese's family also helped to pass Skylar's law, which requires that the state issue Amber Alerts for all missing children, even though not believed to be kidnapped. Although that may not have saved Skylar's life because she was killed before her parents realized she was missing, this new system in West Virginia may save some more lives through timely notices of missing children. It says here, after the This look at the murder of Skylar Neese at the hands of her best friends. Read about how a teenage girl named Sylvia Likens was brutally murdered by caretaker Gertrude, whatever, I can't pronounce that name, and a group of neighborhood children. Then discover another horrifying case of teenagers who killed their best friend. In this look at the murder of Sanda, Shanda Sharar. I mean, then there's the Slenderman killings. On May 31st, 2014, in Waukesha, Wisconsin, two 12-year-old girls, Anissa and Morgan, lured their friend Peyton Louder. Luckily, she survived. Anissa did not pose a threat to herself or others, against the case. Anissa was released as of September 12th, 2021. Oh my God. Morgan, now 20, was sentenced to the and Morgan was released as of July 23rd, 2022. What the hell? People like that should be in jail for life, since they took a life. Oh my God. But there are similarities to each and every one of these cases, because the guilty party always comes out and be the most vocal. Just watch Sammy, Megs, and this guy, Jagger, is gonna be. It would be a threesome killing. Just watch. And it's killing Jagger knowing this. Just watch.